Happy Friday. Today is October 8th, and this is the 10th episode of season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, it's a reciprocal action. You help others and you help yourself at the same time. Yeah. I was going to say something, but I know how I get about sidebars, so let me stay here. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative. I'm also the creator of what is now called the Hero Ministry. Initially, this was my effort to provide the unhoused with brand new clothing that also doubles as wearable affirmations, like the shirt I'm wearing right now that says Hero. So, quick disclaimer, I am not a certified personal trainer, nor am I a licensed financial advisor. Do your own research, do your own homework. I'm simply telling you what has worked for me, and most of the time, what has not worked for me so you can learn from my mistakes. And shout out to New Thought Media Network. Check them out online at ntmedia.org. There's the website right there. You can see the other programming. You can also make a donation to the network and support all this wonderful programming. All right, all that said, today is Friday, and I'm going to do a Freeflow Friday as named by Nan a while ago. So Freeflow Friday. And I got a lot of things I want to talk about. So just to shout out whoever's in the chat. Oh, there you are, Nan. Nan's in the chat. Appreciate you watching me live. Yeah, you came up with this segment name. And I'm going to jump right into it because there's a lot of things I want to cover. So let's just do one affirmation today and not both, just so that we can hurry up and get into it. So this is Ernest Holmes. The affirmation is, today I expect every good thing to come to me, for I know that divine abundance is forever manifesting itself in my affairs. Ashe. Okay. So I had some conversations with some folks yesterday, and I feel like I've been giving mixed messages. So let me clarify. My goal for myself, and therefore by extension for you, is to build a functional investment stock portfolio. Emphasis on the word investment. We're not at the point where we can start trading. We're not that smart yet. So I told the stories about the ballroom dancer and about the 14-year-old to inspire us, to let us know what's possible. But they are on their PhD dissertation, right? We are in kindergarten. Let's be clear. We have to crawl before we walk before we run. We've got to go through the steps, because if we don't, we're going to trip and fall and hurt ourselves financially, and we don't want that. So I am just giving you those examples so that we can see what's possible, so that we can be inspired to keep going. But right now, we got to get the fundamentals. We got to get the fundamentals. So that's what this is for me, and again, by extension for you. So functional investment stock portfolio, which means long-term. So building a portfolio such that if someone gave you $1 million tomorrow, you would know what to do with it. You would simply funnel that money right into your stock portfolio and feel good about it, because you already know that it's secure, that it's set up, that all the pieces are in the right place. Buy yourself a steak dinner first, but then put the money right into that portfolio. So let's go through where we are now. All right. Number 1, get off the porch. Get off the porch. We have learned that investing is mandatory. It's not optional. We're taught that it's optional. It is not optional. We have learned that here. It is mandatory. Get off the porch, open an account, and start investing. Got to do that. If you're still watching, thinking about it, stop thinking about it. Get off the porch. So today's Friday. You got the weekend. Open a brokerage account. If you've got a smartphone, do it on your smartphone. Use Cash App. Use Robinhood. Use whatever has the least barrier of entry for you. But get off the porch. That's number 1. Number 2, activate drip. I can't emphasize this enough. DRIP is dividend reinvestment plan. You got to activate DRIP. No matter what brokerage house you're on, you got to activate DRIP. If you're on a brokerage house like Cash App that does not have DRIP, then we've got a different plan for you. But if you're on a brokerage house that has DRIP, activate DRIP. You're going to need that dividend reinvestment. So that's number 2. Then number 3, buy an index fund. The index fund I've recommended is the S&P 500, which you've heard about, I'm sure, for years. Get it. Buy into the S&P 500. That's your first move. We are building a wall. And the first brick, the cornerstone brick of your wall, your financial wall, is an index fund. Tried, true, long-term. The one that we all know is the S&P 500. That's the one I went with. That's the one I'm recommending. Get that brick. If you can't afford the whole brick, if you can't get a whole share, buy into it. But your first goal is to get a whole share. So if you haven't done that yet, stop right there. Do that. Get a whole share of an index fund. I recommend the S&P 500, but there are plenty of index funds out there. Get it. That's your first move. Okay. If you've done all that, now it's time to start consolidating your positions. Because if you're like me, you bought a bunch of different things. You're like, oh, I'm going to get a little of this, a little of that, a little of this, a little of that. Stop it. Stop it. What we're doing is gambling. It doesn't feel like it, but that's what we're doing. We're buying a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we're hoping that one of those companies will explode and give us a massive return. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't gamble. Do what you know. And so that means riding coattails. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to figure out something that somebody else hasn't figured out. Just ride coattails. So again, recapping, if you've already done the S&P 500 move, now it's time to talk about the next brick. The next brick is a growth stock brick. So you got an index fund brick, S&P 500. Now you need a growth stock brick. And by the way, you can tap out just that index fund. If you just invest in the index fund and S&P 500 from now until forever, you're good. Generally speaking, you're going to make about 30% on your money year after year. Long-term play. Do not look at the charts every day. Do not look at the charts every day. It'll stress you out. If you look at the charts every day, draw the arrow all the way out to the far right for maximum or 5 year or 1 year. You want to look at the charts on a long-term basis, not a short-term, long-term only. Okay, so you got your S&P 500 index brick. Now it's time for the growth brick. Growth stocks are stocks that are big companies that do not give dividends. They use their dividend money to reinvest back into the company to grow the company faster. Now, there is an acronym for the 4 biggest growth stocks. This was created by some industry leaders out there. This was not created by me. Once again, I am shifting from trying to figure it out on my own to riding people's coattails because I recognize that I'm in kindergarten for the stock market and I need to build off the success and knowledge of others. So the acronym is FANG, F-A-N-G. It's not a ticker symbol. It's an acronym. It means Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google. Once again, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google. Get all 4. If you want to have a growth stock brick, get all 4. Those are the 4 biggest, well-known growth stocks. That said, I went with Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Same difference. I might come back and get Apple later, but those are 5 massive companies that have done tremendously well. Now, the industry leaders will say that they're so big that they can't grow too much more. I disagree with that. Well, let me rephrase. I agree with that, but for our purposes, it doesn't matter. These are companies that are going to keep on doing well. They may not grow exponentially the way they have in the past, but they're going to keep on doing well. So I'm expecting like 5 to 10% on these companies year after year. They're going to keep on keeping on. FANG, Facebook, Apple or Amazon, Google, and Netflix and Google. So that's the next brick. Okay, so just to recap where we are, what I've said thus far, get off the porch investing is mandatory. It's not optional. Get an account with Drip. And that means you might have to have more than one account. At this point, I have six different brokerage accounts. Doesn't matter. You do not have to spend any amount of money to fund these accounts, which boggles my mind. So I've got 6. I'll run through those really quickly. I've got Cash App, Robinhood, Charles Schwab, which I just opened, Ameritrade, and Ameritrade. I didn't realize until I learned from the Wall Street Trapper that you could have multiple portfolios with the same company. So I've got 3 with Ameritrade, 1 with Charles Schwab, Cash App, and Robinhood. Now, I got a question earlier in the week about moving money from one account, one brokerage house to another. I wouldn't recommend that because it's going to have to pass through your bank account, so it may be counted as income. And if it doesn't pass through your bank account, if you transfer it from brokerage to brokerage, you have to pay some really high fees. So I would recommend leaving the money where it is and just defining what you're going to use that bucket for. So if it's in Robinhood, I made Robinhood my index fund portfolio. So I have only the S&P 500 in Robinhood. Mind you, I had a bunch of miscellaneous things in there. I had a little of this, a little of that, a little of this. I closed all those positions, left the money in Robinhood, and pushed all that money into the S&P 500, right? So Cash App, what I did with Cash App is something similar. I closed all my positions. I had way more on Cash App than I had on Robinhood. I had a little bit of everything on Cash App, but I closed all those positions. I left the money within Cash App, and I reallocated those funds into FANG, Facebook, in my case, Amazon, Netflix, Google. That way I can buy more of those 4 companies instead of buying a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So now I'm trying to have a significant chunk of those 4 companies. And you've heard my story about Facebook this week if you've been watching the show. That's been very interesting and seems to be going well. So that's where we are. I just want to be clear that I am not suggesting that we go do what the 14-year-old is doing or what the ballroom dancer is doing, because we're not at that level yet. I am simply making us aware of these stories so that when we get to the point where we can trade stocks, we'll already know what we're doing. So this is just about getting the fundamentals. So follow the steps in this episode if you're looking for specific direction about what to do. Again, I am not a licensed financial advisor. I'm simply telling you what I am doing for me and what I think might work for you, but you got to do your own research. Don't hold me liable. But that said, I am breaking out my portfolio into bricks, an index fund brick, which again, you can just stay right there and be good. And a FANG brick, again, you can just stay right there and be good. But next week, I'm going to start talking about dividend stocks. That'll be the 3rd brick that I talk about. Dividends. So stocks that pay dividends and using the drip effectively. That'll be the 3rd brick. So that's where we are. That's what I'm on. I hope you're coming along for the ride with me. Let's play this safe. Let's learn the fundamentals. Let's know what we're doing, not guess, not gamble. Let's know what we're doing so that when the time comes for us to do something more, we'll already know the fundamentals. All right, so I'm closing out. Just remember your class materials. Get The Science of Getting Rich, the book. Listen to my podcast, Get Rich 101, which is me reading The Science of Getting Rich. And get the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Richard Kiyosaki. All of those will help you with your mindset about money, your mindset, which is very important. All right, so I'm out of time. Check me out on Sit with Rev Melissa in a little bit. And then I'll see you on Sunday where I'm guest hosting Living Life in Joy. And then after that, you'll see me again on Monday for the Be Your Own Hero show. All right, have a good weekend, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero, and remember that now is better than perfect. Later.